It is the Frank and Friends show. Hi there, I'm Frank Murphy.
And I'm Kira Cupp.
How delightful that you are here filling in for my friend Kathryn Frady.
I'm glad to be here.
And look at you, it's like Easter already with you.
Yeah, I love Easter. I love the spring and all the colors and all the happy memories that you get to create.
Yeah, nice. Well, I'm glad that you're here with us as we get closer to Easter. And of course, we are especially delighted that you're watching or listening and sharing and subscribing, telling your friends, especially about our YouTube channel. Just before we started, I mentioned that I'm meeting Chef Adam Ragusa, who's a famous YouTuber, and he's got like 1.8 million subscribers. And
will you get his autograph for me?
Okay.
Thanks.
Whereas, we're still trying to get to our first 1,000 so we can start to monetize the channel. And Adam's on there talking on his videos about, I was able to buy this camera because it helped me make more videos, which means more money for my family. And he's honest about it. He's making a good living at that. So I'm very excited to talk to him about it. But I'm not there yet. We can use your help by, instead of just watching it through the Facebook app, click open YouTube app and go and hit the subscribe button and maybe ring the bell for notifications. Smash that button, as we would say.
I got to smash the button.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Oh, you do it louder than Frady does.
I want to do it again. Torture you. Sorry.
Yeah, last time you were torturing me with that whisper talk, and now you're ringing the bell. Just don't do them both at the same time.
I'm an evil person.
Because I can just imagine. What would you do?
Talk like this.
So yeah, it's too much for my ears. We also would love for you to try some of our Frank and Friends show merch. We've got all sorts of drinkware, whether it's the wine goblets, it's the coffee mugs, it's the pint glasses. We have clothing. There's shirts and hoodies. There's bucket hats.
It's really high quality too. I can feel it.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it's gonna chip easy or anything, and you can drink your water.
Do you remember those guys that we used to who had have a very successful YouTube channel up in the Smokies?
Yeah.
Well, I when I started up this YouTube channel, I was looking around at successful YouTubers trying to figure out what can I do that they do that works. And one of the things I did was I looked at their merch company, and it's the same one. So that's why I went with this one. I got the print made, I got the beach towel, I got this, got the hoodies and things like that. And I was impressed with the quality of the actual physical material. And then my friend Bean, who has an enormously successful podcast called Cup of Tea and a Chat with Allie and Bean, and theirs is a subscription podcast. You actually pay them to hear it.
Nice.
I'm going with the advertising supported model, trying to get 1,000 YouTube subscribers.
The old-fashioned way.
Well, I mean, Bean already had and deservedly so, has a large fan base from his days on KROQ in Los Angeles. So good, but they also went with the same merch company, is the point I was trying to make.
Okay.
Because he had bought one of our shirts and liked it, so when he started up his podcast, they went with the same merch company, and they've been very pleased with the quality.
It's very great quality.
So anyway, frankandfriendsshow.com/store. What?
I was just saying it's great quality.
Did you do that ASR? What is it called?
ASMR.
Were you still doing it?
Sure.
Oh, stop. That's I don't know why that creeps me out so much.
Makes the hair on your neck stand up.
Well, Easter is around the corner, and I love Easter, of course. I mean, because Marshmallow Peeps, have been a favorite of mine since childhood.
You and Peeps, you've always loved Peeps.
I've always loved Peeps.
I remember we used to just bring them to you, and you'd get so excited.
Well, today being is significant to me in a way because it's sort of my 20-year anniversary in Knoxville.
Congratulations!
Because the date exactly doesn't match, but the Tuesday before Easter is what I mean. So I can celebrate two different ways this anniversary. In 2002, on the Tuesday before Easter, so the Tuesday of Holy Week, I flew to Knoxville so that I could have an on-air audition with Phil Williams and be his co-host. Phil and Murphy in the Morning was what we eventually called it after I got the job. Spoiler alert, I moved here. So two things happened of significance. Number one was on the audition show. I was on the air with him on Wednesday of Holy Week and then Thursday of Holy Week. So Holy Thursday, we did a bit where I tried to put as many Marshmallow Peeps in my mouth as possible live on the air. And that, I think, helped push me over to get the job.
All because you put peeps in your mouth.
Yeah, and then we ended up doing the bit again the following Easter after I'd already worked there, and I've got some disgusting pictures of that. But at least I was already working there. I got the job, right? So this trip to Knoxville during Holy Week was significant because of the Marshmallow Peeps, because of the on-air audition, and also because the Tuesday night is, as I don't know, if I say to you, guess what I'm doing on Tuesday night, what might you think of?
Attending to your fig trees?
Oh, that's such a good thing. No, Tuesday is my improv night.
Oh, yeah, the...
Einstein Simplified.
Yes, my mind blanked.
Well, you've seen us perform at the Gatlinburg Improv Fest. In fact, I need you to come out and see us now
I want
at
to.
Scruffy City Hall. In fact, come tonight. Why don't you?
Okay.
So Tuesday nights are improv nights, but back 20 years ago, believe it or not, I don't think Google existed, but
That's weird to think about.
I looked it up on Yahoo or whatever the thing was. Before I flew from California to Knoxville, I looked up online to see if there was improv in East Tennessee. And sure enough, Einstein Simplified comes up as Knoxville's improv troupe. And I had just taken a class out in Burbank. I took improv for ages 13 and up, which was funny because I was up. And I was interested in learning more about improv. And so I arrive in Knoxville on a Tuesday afternoon, and I stay in the hotel on the top of Summit Hill, which is now the Crowne Plaza, but was something else then. Maybe I don't know what it was called, not the Hyatt Regency, whatever it was, doesn't matter. It was the same hotel, different name. And I've learned that there's an improv show in the Old City at this bar called Manhattan's, which you wouldn't know that one. It's now called Boyd's Jig and Reel.
Yeah.
It's on the corner in the Old City. Well, Einstein Simplified had a show every Tuesday night, going back. I mean, the troupe's been around since 1994, so this is now 2002. So 8 years the troupe's been around doing these shows every week. I go and I watch it. My first night in town, and I think this is cool. I could see myself coming back here to see these guys again if I get the job and if I move here, and all the things. So, as we just gave away the ending, I ate the peeps, I got the job, I moved here, and June 1st of 2002, I auditioned for Einstein Simplified and got in.
So I want to see you do something improvised right now.
Okay.
So
one way we do that is you have to, one easy example, is you give the improviser any word at all. And it can be a noun or a verb or whatever. Usually we say, give me a noun. And then there's a game where one of the improvisers has to go out to the front and deliver an impromptu speech, an extemporaneous speech or monologue about the noun. And then the others are listening, and then maybe they'll come out and act it out and do funny bits about it. So that's one thing you can always do on the spot. Or have I ever done the one word at a time with you?
You have.
That's hard, isn't it?
It is hard.
So it's up to you. You want to try?
I want to do the first one because I have a great one for you.
Okay, so here we go. Kira is going to challenge me to give an extemporaneous talk.
Let's do one on venues.
Venues. Well, if it weren't for venues, I wouldn't be married, if you want to get right down to it. Because when I first moved to Northern Virginia many years ago, my mom thought I should get a job at Sears because it was just opening up at the mall. But someone else suggested, I don't know if it was my mom or my dad, said, there's this venue called Wolf Trap Farm Park for the Performing Arts. It's a national park where the National Symphony plays in the summer, and they put on ballets and operas, but they also have rock and roll shows and pop shows, and all sorts of amazing, famous people have performed at Wolf Trap. So I went over there, and I applied for a job, and it turns out that the guy hired college kids almost exclusively to work in the box office because they were available for the summer, and you would work 4 days a week, 10 hours a day. So you had a 3-day weekend.
That's nice.
So I made these lifelong friends by working at Wolf Trap and selling tickets for all these different classical and pop shows and rock shows and things like that. Anyway, everything from Tony Orlando to Aida to nowadays there's so many famous bands you've heard of will play at Wolf Trap. It's normal. Well, the place burned down. So I've lost the job. It's burned. It's cinders. It's nothing. It's nothing left. And I go to work at a bank. and I'm trying to figure out what to do. They were talking about putting up a temporary structure while they rebuild the place. And at this point, the people at the bank used to tell me, you should be on the radio, when I was talking to the microphone to the drive-through window. The customers would say, why don't you get a job on the radio? I'm like, sure. Well, anyway, I get a job in radio. They eventually start to rebuild Wolf Trap. My future wife gets a job in the box office, like I had. And I have a radio event that requires people to come, and I need to fill a venue called the Wax Museum in downtown Washington, D.C. It's a former wax museum that became a bar/concert venue. And I said, called the older venue, Wolf Trap, and said, bring all the new people. I need to fill the seats in this because I'm an intern at this big radio station, and if I can make this event a success, maybe they'll hire me on. Spoiler alert.
It worked.
Not only did I meet my wife under the Neil Armstrong wax figure, but
Just imagining that.
But I succeeded at the internship, got hired as the assistant promotions director, and then moved up to morning show producer and all the other things. And that was so venues.
Okay.
How's that?
That's good.
You want to try one?
Oh gosh. Wait, was that a true story or was that?
Oh, that was all true.
Okay. I was about to be like.
And that's when you get to be my experience level, let's say.
Okay.
I probably have a true story about almost anything. I mean, I've been to all 50 states, and you could name a state, and I would have, let me tell you about the time I went to Idaho. Whatever it is,
You're a book of random knowledge.
Yeah. So if I were to try one on you.
Oh gosh.
If I were to try, since Easter's coming up, maybe I'll go easy on you.
Okay.
If I were to say jelly bean.
Okay.
Now you can take that any way you want, but go.
Okay. So like a speech or like a story?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. I gave you a true one because that was easier for me, and I thought it was a fun. And when I think of venue, I think of, that's how I met my wife.
Okay.
So that rings deep. I mean, you hit like a nerve with that word.
Okay.
If you had picked some other rando word like jelly bean, I could, they could talk about a person named Jelly Bean, or I could talk about just some other nonsense about,
Jelly beans.
Yeah, like I did I went to visit an improv group in Frederick, Maryland one time for my birthday, and my daughter contacted them and said, it's his birthday, you should bring him on stage. And they're like, oh no. So they bring me down there, and it was one of these things, all right, they give him a noun, and he's got to give an extemporaneous speech. They're kind of seeing if he's, we'll see if he can do it.
Yeah.
And it was some fruit or vegetable, pineapple or whatever. Anyway, I just made up something because I didn't have any emotional connection to the word like I did with venue. So
now I have to find a connection with jelly bean.
Well, I mean, I can give you a different word, but jelly
got
bean's a
this.
good word. All right,
I can
here we
do
go.
this, Frank.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kira Cupp on jelly bean.
Jelly beans are not vegan because they have sugar in them. And sugar, like regular processed sugar, is made with animal bones. And that's how they process it. It's true.
It sounds like you're talking about marshmallows.
That too, but I wasn't a vegan until last year. I was vegetarian for my whole life.
All right.
And then I found out about the sugar thing, and then I had to completely change my way of eating because sugar is literally in everything, including jelly beans. But they do make vegan jelly beans. It's hard to find them.
It's hard to eat them, I imagine, too.
They're delicious.
They are?
Yes.
You need to come back with some vegan jelly beans after Easter. I need to taste it.
I will.
So what's in your vegan Easter basket?
I did get a vegan carrot cake for Easter.
Actually, the thing about you is you're the person who actually eats the Easter grass.
I am.
That was a joke.
Well, I have tried grass before.
I mean, you probably put real grass in your Easter basket.
I would totally
or
do
bean
that.
sprouts or some other.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else on jelly beans?
So for Christmas one year, my family, before I was vegan, got one of those BeanBoozled jelly bean games.
Yeah.
Where it's there's two different beans. One may be toasted marshmallow, or it could be dirty diaper.
Oh, is it like the Bertie Bott's from Harry Potter, the gross flavored jelly beans?
Yes.
Ew.
Yeah, they're nasty. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I stopped. I can't eat those gross ones. I don't want to. So I went back to like the old school, like the kind your grandma would eat, the Brock's jelly beans. I like to play it safe with those.
Gross.
But when you said animals, that's the thing about marshmallows is they're not kosher because they're generally made with gelatin, which is made with horses' hooves, right? Or other hooves or bones.
Or I've also heard that it's made with their bones and.
Yeah, well, that's why kosher marshmallows are made with fish gelatin, which is still animal parts.
Which is still disgusting.
But they're not cloven hooved, non-kosher parts.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
And
you probably couldn't eat my fig jam then because it has Jello in it.
Oh, I probably couldn't.
You can't eat Jello, can you? Or white sugar.
No.
Because that's what's in the fig jam is figs and white sugar and Jello.
Yeah, here in the South, I disappoint a lot of people because everybody, they always want to feed you. Like, every person I know is just like, here, Kira, let me feed you. And I'm like, no, thank you. And they're like, I insist. And then I'm like,
no, I'm going to punch you in the face. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's exciting, though. I wish I hadn't thought of jelly bean as the word, but it was a good answer.
Thank you.
Well, I also was thinking about Einstein Simplified because of something funny that happened at the show last week. And I'll have to tell you about that after we talk about a venue. Is that why you picked venue?
It is.
I should have thought of it.
I know. I was trying to lead into that like you used to teach me before long ago.
You did a good job.
Thanks.
Except I went past it at 90 miles, missed the exit at 90 miles an hour.
It's okay.
Well, what time is it? Is it time for the commercial? Yes, it is. So we'll talk about a venue called the Middleburg Barn at Fox Chase Farm. I showed you some pictures.
It's beautiful.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, and I found it really interesting how it's built. So the wood, instead of using nails or screws, somehow they have found a way to take the wood and connect it.
Yeah, they fit the pieces together. It's called the technique is called Mortise and Tenon. So if I were to Google a picture of that, you would see basically the end of one of the beams has a shape on it, and then the other beam has a matching hole where they fit together. It's so they have to craft the barn in such a fashion using these old skills, but it's a new barn. It's 5 years old. So they built it from the ground up using the older methods, the time-tested. They looked at, my friend Maureen owns it and runs the place, and she would go to Ireland and she'd look at these barns that have stood for hundreds of years, 100 years, 200 years, and so she made one that can stand that way.
That is cool.
Yeah.
So it's more sturdy than
yeah.
nails. Because I guess that way you don't have any splits or anything.
Right. It's exactly. It all becomes one giant piece, if you will, and she's got these beautiful wedding receptions and corporate events and all sorts of amazing things happening at the Middleburg Barn, where you can rent it out and also enjoy the rustic luxury of the barn, but in the setting in the hunt country of Loudoun County, Virginia, in Middleburg, where they used to. It's called Fox Chase Farm for a reason, because people would ride. Imagine all those people with their fancy outfits on, riding their horses, jumping over things, and going, "Oh, tally-ho!" Well, it's like that.
Do they catch foxes?
In the old days, I think they would. I don't think they do anymore.
Good. Good for the foxes.
Well, it's fun. Here's a side note. There's, I think, maybe now too many foxes in Northern Virginia. There's apparently a rabid fox that bit a senator or a congressman or somebody, and they referred to it as the Senate fox because this rabid fox was just hanging out down at Capitol Hill, and they had to catch her and euthanize her because she's got rabies. She bit 9 people.
What in the world?
I'm just saying, maybe bringing back the fox hunting is not that bad of an idea.
Maybe not. But technically, humans are overpopulated, Frank.
Oh, come on. On what grounds? You could fit the whole world in the state of Texas if you tried. It would be very uncomfortable, but you could.
Technically, but look at all the. I mean, I'm not a crazy person saying that all these bad things should happen. I'm not
Well, let's save that for a second. We'll finish up with Maureen and the Middleburg Barn, because maureen's a former news producer. She'll be very interested in your theory. We contact Maureen at 540-687-5255, or look it up online at themiddleburgbarn.com. They got the HVAC system that's cleaned with ultraviolet lights. They've got the Couples Choice Award for weddings. They're just outside Washington, D.C., 25 miles from 40 miles from Washington, D.C., so it's probably not the same Fox. And 25 minutes from Dulles Airport, the Middleburg barn. Okay. All right, Kira, what? There's too many people in your world?
There are.
We live in Tennessee, where the reason we live in Tennessee is there's elbow room.
Not anymore. There's so many Californians and other people just moving here. Like, for us locals, it's hard to find a house because the prices have gone up really high.
They have.
And, like, I get sad every time I see a beautiful field turn into a subdivision.
Well, that is true. When I visited Northern Virginia just last week, I really don't like driving up there because I don't recognize anything. You know, I have to use the Google Maps the whole time, and mainly my wife was driving around. But we were going out to visit places where her sister lives in Ashburn, Virginia. And the whole place is, you know, multifamily houses and shopping centers, and this is what happened. I don't know anything. And if it's not that, it's these enormous buildings that house the internet. I talked about this in an episode last week or week before, where the cloud computers are all in these gigantic buildings near Dulles Airport. Yeah, I know. But so that area seems crowded. So I get back to Tennessee, I'm like, what a relief.
Yeah.
You know, because traffic on I-66 is so much worse than I-40.
That's true. It's still bad though, and I think it is going to keep getting a little worse.
Well, the demand, I mean, you're right. There are more in housing in general. People seem to, since the lockdown, be wanting to move maybe out of cities and into suburbs and less populated areas, whether you want a yard or whether you want to grow fig trees like I am in the forest out there. Or whatever the thing is. But you're right, there's more and more of the multifamily homes, I guess. Mm-hmm. You know, that's what happened. We'd see that in Burbank all the time because Burbank is built out. There's no room for anything. So somebody would die or somebody would sell their house, and it would, more likely than not, get torn down and rebuilt into a larger house. Or if they buy, you know, two proper houses next to each other, tear them both down and put up, you know, a mini apartment building.
Right.
Yeah, is that what you're talking about?
It is. Like, it's just happening everywhere. Like, if you go out to the Hardin Valley area,
yeah,
it's like every single time I go out there, there's another subdivision, and then they build the houses like 3 stories high. So, like, you can't really see anything anywhere because there's just houses everywhere.
So, but you would want to, what kind of house would you want to live in?
A cute little cottage, an older house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's part of the reason that Jere and I moved to this subdivision is because as you look around, I mean, you can tell this is not a new house. This is an older house. It's probably close to 50 years old, this house.
Okay.
So, but the reason I liked the neighborhood is it's finished. You know, there's no empty lots around, you know, so unless someone were to tear down and do a complete rebuild, which I think I found that sweet spot. The houses are new enough that nobody's going to knock one down yet, but old enough that, you know, this is the way it's going to stay, at least for the rest of my time here. Mm-hmm. That's what my theory was.
Right.
So some people like Old North Knoxville for that reason. You know, you go in there and the houses are a little smaller and a little closer together because they were built probably, in the 30s and 40s? Mm-hmm. Is that what you'd like?
I would love that. I mean, I've heard that it's more work to take care of it, but like...
Well, old houses are work. Yeah, you have to, I mean... But so are new houses. I mean...
It's true.
I wish I had been better about taking care of this house. I'm trying to make up for some lost time, you know. Finally got the gutters replaced, and I thought, what a idiot I was to not get those done sooner, because in the long run, you know, it costs you more in, like, oh, well, now we have to replace the fascia boards. I'm like, what's the fascia boards? This is the wood that rotted because you didn't get the gutters redone. I'm like, oh. It's the wood that the gutter's attached to. So you have to, you know, go back and it costs more to do it. But now I'm done. I'm like, okay, I got good gutters. I'm happy.
That's good. What about your roof? How's the roof?
Well, we had the roof and the gutters done at the same time.
Smart man.
And they're up there and they're telling me, and like, how are you still in this house? How did you, do you know what they did before you moved here? They just kept layering on fake roofs on the top of it. And like, you know, you're supposed to have, this is supposed to be open and this is supposed to connect to this and this is, and yeah, they didn't do the roof properly.
So they halfway did it.
And they did it badly, yeah. They just kept laying on new layers to make it look like a new roof. But anyway, so that had to get redone.
Lazy. So, see, like the lazy people.
Well, when you're sometimes, and here's the thing with the buyer beware, when you're selling a house, or when you're buying a house more likely, you have to watch out. And we should have had a guy notice that. When we had the home inspection, they're like, yep, you got a roof. We should have had a guy say, there's no roof vent, it's fake. They just put a fake roof. They literally took a piece of plastic and put a fake roof vent on the top of your roof to make it look like there's a vent, but it's not. There's no opening like there's supposed to be to let out the humidity.
That sounds illegal.
You would think.
Wow.
So almost 20 years later, I got a new roof and got that figured out.
But you're still here. You didn't die from it, so.
No, and things are better. I mean, what can you do except improve upon that? But do you travel much for business at all, or? I
try to stay local because I have a family who's very concerned for my safety, and they don't like it when I travel by myself.
You need to text them and let you know you're okay.
They know I'm fine. They know you're safe, Frank.
But I was thinking that when you're talking about people coming to Knoxville for business, moving here, do you think it's because they can work from anywhere?
I do, yeah, because with all these new houses, like, one of the main things that people want is an office space, so that they can go work and then have the house to themselves.
Well, the guy who bought the house behind me was for sale, and it was almost purchased by some Californians. Because I met them at the back fence, they were asking questions about where the property line was and things like that, which led to a number of changes, including having Steve's Tree Service cut down some trees and then having the fence redone and all these things because these Californians were going to move in and put up a fence where they wanted it. So anyway, there was a whole I thought these Californians were going to move in. Well, they ended up not. A guy from Powell or something ended up living there. But I see him out back. He must work from home because I see him on his back porch working on a computer. And much like I work from home, I mean, I do this job here and I do the radio job over there. And then in the other room, I do my editing.
Nice.
What?
You've got like a whole little... I bet Jere loves that.
Well, I suppose I should consolidate it all into one space.
You could.
But the reason we do the podcast here is because I have backlighting.
Oh.
See, look at it. Look how beautiful. Look how beautiful you look. See?
Thanks.
You glow with that. And then, and the reason I do the radio show over in the kitchen is because I like to do it standing up.
That makes sense.
So the microphone is attached to the counter, the island, so that I can do that part standing up.
Well, what's the difference between standing and sitting?
Is this a trick question?
Well,
sitting, we are currently sitting.
Yeah.
And then if I were to stand, I'd be on my feet.
But does it change your voice or something?
Oh, okay. I see what you mean.
Yeah.
In singing, it's very hard to sit and sing. Singers generally stand, and their opera singers have to train when the scene requires them to be rolling around on the floor, rolling around on the bed, and still sing or sit and sing. So they can do it, but normally when you see a choir, what do they do before they start to sing? They all stand up.
Oh.
Maybe some rock and roll singers will sit there and strum or something like that, but that's a different thing. And I'm used to working at radio stations where it was a stand-up operation, so you had to stand to do the show. So it's probably psychological. It's probably that I'm accustomed to doing DJing, classic hits while standing. So I just do it that way.
Okay.
And maybe it's an energy thing. I feel like I can, when I sit and do it, I start to get comfortable, and then it's like, "Hi, I'm Frank. Here's Walking on Sunshine by Katrina and the Waves."
You got to keep that energy.
Whereas when I'm standing up, it's like, "Hey, we're walking on sunshine. It's a beautiful day outside, except for tomorrow. It's going to be dogwood winter. Ha ha."
How do you talk that fast, Frank?
Well, I don't know. I'm from New York.
I'm from New York. I just can't do it. I'm too Southern.
What can I say that as fast as possible? What would you?
You could do a tongue twister.
Oh, well, I love tongue twisters.
Sally sells, she shall.
My favorite is a I slit a sheet I slit, upon a slitted sheet I sit.
Okay, now say fast.
Okay, what has it start again? I slit a sheet I slit, upon a slitted sheet I sit. I slit a sheet I slit, upon a slitted sheet I sit.
I'm waiting for you to say something wrong.
Did I say it wrong?
No.
I slit a sheet I slit, upon a slitted sheet I sit.
I could easily see how.
Well, that's the fun of it, is the danger, you know, as you're walking the end up to the rope of it there. So I do that I like to do that when we're about to film an episode of Scholars Bowl and all these high school kids are there and they look like they're a little anxious, a little nervous. I'll say, all right, everybody, let's warm up. You got to do red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, which is a hard one, you know, for your, and then unique New York, unique New York, unique New York. Those are warm-ups, right? And then I'll lay on them with the, you know, I slit a sheet I slit, upon a slitted sheet I sit. And the kid, that's...
Well, like, my brain is thinking that you're saying words.
That I didn't say.
Yes.
I hope I said it right.
You did.
Well, unfortunately, I can go back and bleep myself if I made a mistake.
That's true.
I should bleep it anyway, just make you wonder.
Yeah, what did Frank Murphy say? What do you think he said?
Well, before we wrap up, I want to mention your friend Ashley Georgakopoulos. Yeah. Because, you know, we realized that there's two things I've got in mind here. It's been, you know, almost 2 years since we've seen each other, really talked to each other, except for commenting on each other's social media posts, right?
Right.
And when I interviewed Ashley Georgakopoulos for the PBS show called Up Close with Frank Murphy, you made a lovely comment about the show because she posted the link on Facebook. And I thought, oh, Kira, you made a compliment about Ashley because she's an interesting person and gorgeous, and that you liked the way I interviewed her and you watched the show, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's all, you've been on my mind.
Aww.
But I'm thinking about that show again because it's time now to film. During April, we're going to be filming 6 more episodes that'll run at the end of this year. We're talking, you know, July, August, September, October, November, December, probably next January. So the ones I'm filming now won't be on for a while. So all of that is forefront, but it was actually when you texted me, the reason you're sitting here today and the reason you were here last week is because you texted me when you bought a fig.
I did, yeah. We were out, I was with my family. We were out shopping at like Home Depot, I think. And we saw, like, my mom is obsessed with flowers, with growing vegetables and stuff. And then we came across this section where there were some fig trees.
Well, you'll be happy to tell your mom that a fig is actually a flower. Bum, bum, bum.
Ah!
A fig is not a fruit. A fig is an inverted flower.
Wait, what?
I said a fig is not a fruit. A fig is, in reality, an inverted flower.
So when you eat a fig, you're eating a flower.
It's delicious.
That makes me feel weird.
You could eat flowers.
You can eat dandelions.
Yeah. But so anyway, figs are absolutely delicious. I think I mentioned the other day, you know, Jesus loved a good fig.
Yeah.
He cursed the barren fig tree. So you bought a fig tree. And what did you do? You so sweetly, so kindly took a picture of it and sent it to your old friend Frank.
Yeah, I said, look what I got. It's a fig tree. I got this because it made me think of you.
Now, my question, though, is, did I overreact? Because at that point... Go ahead.
You were pretty excited. Like, you started giving me all these pointers, tips.
Unsolicited.
It's okay. I appreciated all the insight.
I just started texting. I mean, I think I should probably... is it that bad? Let me see. Because, that's a lot of fig information.
That is a lot of fig.
Oh.
He's still scrolling.
Oh my, yeah. Oh, all right, so here. If we start here with the picture of the fig, okay? All the blue parts are my fig comments.
Which I didn't mind.
That's a lot.
Because, like, I was there with my mom and dad, and they were taking forever.
Yeah.
So I was just there with the fig tree, just waiting.
Oh, so okay. So I was just filling in. I see what you mean.
You were, yeah. So I appreciated it.
Well, what are you going to do with it?
I'm going to plant it, Frank.
Where is it?
It's in the living room right now.
Okay. And you're giving it lots of light, right?
We actually bought 2 of them.
And these are brown turkey,
brown turkeys.
which is the same as the kind that I have.
I'm expecting them to start gobbling soon, but I haven't heard anything yet.
I wonder if it's Turkey the country or Turkey the animal that...
Oh, that makes a lot more sense. I forgot Turkey was a country.
When you go to the Holy Land Market, where your friend Walter works, owns, he sells Turkish figs that are imported from Turkey. That's not a normal thing to get the, turkey figs from the Middle East. That's where they're from.
So he could just start coming to you as a supplier. With all the figs you have out here on Fig Row.
Once I get them all going, yeah. Fig Row is, you saw a little bit of that, and you saw the more additions that are going to be going into Fig Row.
He's probably got 20 figs right now.
That's an understatement. I didn't show you the ones in the basement.
There's more?
I didn't show. I'm not taking you down to the basement, Kira. I'm not showing you those ones.
Wow.
Those in February, I made a bunch of fig cuttings and stuck them all in dirt, just because. And then when I tried to start to prune Big Fig, which has gotten too big, I just started sticking twigs in the ground. That's what I do.
That's such an innocent hobby, Frank.
Yes, and some of them will. If I put 100 fig sticks into the ground, and maybe 10 of them survive, that's pretty good, and that's at very little effort. Because so I tried this year to make some the hard way, which is cut out in February and put them in the dirt with the rooting compound and put them in a thing and keep them warm in the basement until it's warm enough to put them outside. And now what it freezes, you got to bring them back inside, and don't plant them in the ground until after Mother's Day, blah, 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 blah. All these things, right?
That's a lot of things.
A lot of things to think about. Whereas I learned from experience that brown turkey figs do fine in this area. They grow like weeds if you let them. So let them be weeds. Just start sticking them in the ground. And what I like about them is they take up all the sunshine, so no weeds can grow under them.
Oh,
that
is nice.
So really, all you got to do is mulch them underneath, because there'll be nothing. I'll show you out there. There's like a circle of death around the fig tree where the grass can't grow, the weeds can't grow, nothing can grow because there's no sunshine. It's dark.
So you're telling me that fig trees are not only a flower, but they're also
sun hogs.
Killers.
Well, yeah, they're sun hogs. They'll choke out the weeds, I believe. I mean, if you do it, I'm sure somebody will say, "Oh, I got weeds under my fig tree." Well, if you let the leaves get big enough, and they'll eat up all the sun. I learned this at the Children's Museum of Oak Ridge. They had 2 fig trees side by side, and one of them would prosper, and one of them would fruit, and the other would just be like this.
Just dying.
Yeah, because the one on the end hogged up all of the sunshine, and the other one just lived in the shadow. And it's like,
Can you do that again, but more dramatic?
I'm a dying fig tree. All I need is sun. I have to go outside.
This is me taking the sun away. There we go.
Is that what you wanted? Thank you. I'll be in an upcoming film for the Knoxville Film Festival. Thank you very much.
Nice.
Well, we're just getting warmed up, and I think it's time to actually, this one ran a little long. It's time to wrap, but thank you very much.
Thank you, Frank. I've enjoyed being here.
You can get in touch with Kira and hire her as your videographer. I felt so self-conscious setting up the camera and the microphones when I have a legitimate professional videographer who owns her own business. Nothing Rhymes with Orange, LLC.
I'm just a person, Frank.
Well, you're still intimidating. But anyway, we made it through the show. If you can check out our merchandise, we would appreciate that. frankandfriendsshow.com/store, and check out all the different things. And you click on the shopping link to take you to Teespring, where you can find anything. And if you enjoy audio entertainment and you don't want to look at us, that's totally fine. Go to audibletrial.com/frankandfriendsshow, where you can get a free 30-day trial and experience everything that Audible has to offer during that time period, including the monthly credit for a free download. My advice is to go and find the longest audiobook you can get. One that's like 7 or 8 hours, and download that instead of one that's, you can get one that's 3 hours, but why not get a 7-hour one?
Then you can just like go on a road trip and
Yeah.
listen to it the whole way there.
I mean, it's got to be one you like. I mean, it should be something you're interested in hearing. But
Like murder.
murder. They have podcasts and they have other audio entertainment series like that are now exclusive to Audible. They're making their own original programming.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that's why you want to check it out and see what's on there that will strike your fancy. Plus, most regular podcasts, including ours, we submit our episodes to Audible, and they're right on there, just alongside the big boys.
So you can listen to us on there.
Absolutely can. And it syncs with all your devices. So if you're listening on your phone, and then your tablet, then your whatever it is you've got in the car, on the Amazon Alexa, whatever you're using, it keeps your place. You can just switch from one device to the other, just to mess with it.
It's fancy.
Yeah. Listen to it as you go off to bed. And that address, give that address, Kira, while I just breathed in too much of my own saliva.
audibletrial.com/FrankandFriendShow.
Right there. How about that, me, with the consistency? Well, you're a doll. Thank you very much. Happy almost Easter.
Thank you. Happy Easter.
And I hope you wear this again for Easter. It looks great on
I
you.
will. I'm going to take my dog's doggy Easter egg hunting.
Oh, man. Well, you'll have to come back and maybe send some pictures.
Okay.
And tell us how that went. Because
will.
I'm sure, at least one of our viewers will vote for you to come back. And that's
Thank you. Thank you.
Renee.
Thank you, Renee.
All right. It is the Frank and Friends Show. I'm Frank Murphy.
And I'm Kira Cupp.
And we'll talk to you again next time.